Bitcoin is going to go to $100,000 after the Fed expansion, so silver is completely useless. Well, that's a load of bull, and I'll tell you why. So a bit about my background is that I've done crypto mining. I did it a long time ago. I am a programmer. I forked my own chain for fun. I own crypto. I own LiteCoin and Ethereum. I'm not a crypto naysayer to say that, it's just useless. I'm not a crypto naysayer. But I wanted people to understand what they are investing in when they're buying crypto, okay? So first of all, I'm going to mainly talk about BTC in this video. It applies to a lot of the proof of work coins and especially the early coins. You have to understand that Bitcoin is not money. And Bitcoin tokens are not items, physical items that you're getting. It's not even a digital binary token you're getting. What you have to understand is that the Bitcoin value that you see on your wallet, is the public ledger. It says that how much your wallet address has in terms of units. That's a public record that says that the nominal value of your digital wallet is X or Y amount. There is nothing in your wallet except code that looks at this public ledger and determines how much you have and shows you like a number, right? That's what it does. You can also execute with your private key to say like, oh, I want to transact and make a new writing on this public ledger saying that my account signed with my private key is going to change the value associated with my account and credit it to somebody else's account. That's how wallets work. And all of this writing is written onto the public ledger and is verified through all the nodes. So when you buy a Bitcoin, right, you're not investing in crypto. Like, you have to understand that you're not investing in crypto. You are speculating that the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, will be the prevailing blockchain adopted over every single other blockchain and will be adopted as the world's future monetary system. And there will be no other blockchain that will become that world monetary system, right? Bitcoin will be the one. So you are speculating that being one of these early adopters, you are able to get tokens before others adopt this chain, and that you are paying less than what will happen once it is adopted as a worldwide monetary system. So what are some of the risks in that speculation? Well, here's the thing. First of all, you have to understand Bitcoin is a program. It's a P2P program. But like all programs, it can get outdated. What programs got outdated that was widely used? Well, Windows 98. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, it is a program. It will get outdated. There are updates to it, but it has a life cycle. There will be better coins and better blockchains that come out, right? Bitcoin doesn't have any unique features. Its features are easily copied and not special. What is its strong point at this moment is marketing and the brand recognition, not the underlying technology. The underlying technology relies on proof of work. So what happens? There's nothing special with proof of work. Many coins use proof of work. It's not inherently faster. There are different like patches and updates like SegWit, Lightning to try and make proof of work faster. But it's not special. It's not unique. So what happens, and it has certain problems with it. So what happens when these problems arise? One of the problems with proof of work is what happens if people behind all of that hashing power decide to group together and change the transaction in their favor, right? That's a big problem with Bitcoin. Right now, they're not doing it because it will be really bad for the marketing of Bitcoin. But imagine that suddenly it does become adopted as a global monetary system. You're like, yeah, but Bitcoin is decentralized, no governments control it. Yeah, but the people who are mining Bitcoin control it, and they can pool their resources together to do things in their favor. You have no control over it unless you are also a miner, right? Unless you and all your friends, you convince everybody in your surrounding to not just have a wallet with Bitcoin in it, but you go out and buy mining machines and start mining locally on your device to mine Bitcoin. That's the only way, it becomes truly decentralized, is that everybody mines Bitcoin. And nobody has enough compute power to make sure that make sure that they have a dominant position in the hash rate race, and that they're able to rewrite the ledger. That's the that's the risk, right? Will people do that? I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people who hold. I know a lot of people who hold crypto. I don't know anybody who has decided that they will build their own mining rig and start mining crypto because, initially that's how it was supposed to be. Bitcoin was supposed to be this decentralized monetary system and everybody will participate. Well, that's not what happened. People specialized. Companies, they started pumping out, they started building giant rigs. They started opening factories that specialized in mining Bitcoin. And other people were like, oh, it's not worth my time to start a mining company to mine Bitcoin. The idea is it shouldn't cost you a lot. Pretty much any computer can mine Bitcoin. You will most likely will not get a Bitcoin out of mining that Bitcoin. But if you're doing it individually and everybody does it individually, it will decentralize the mining power. But people have no incentive to do it because it costs a lot and there's no tangible reward. The reward is so low if you're an individual miner, right? That is the problem with Bitcoin. It does not fulfill its mission of being decentralized. It is centralized. It is centralized within the hands of those who own most of the hash power and those who invested a lot in getting the hash power. You can say it's good for them, but it doesn't change that then they're kind of like the banks of today who control the financial system. It doesn't change anything. goes back to the same problems we have today. So, what are some other problems with Bitcoin? Well, your transactions are all public. They're not anonymous. All your Bitcoin transactions are pseudonymous. And what does that mean? That means that you have a public address, and that address is sort of like your video game name of you. Your real name isn't there. Your real name is your private key. And then you have this sort of alias or in-game name that is your public address. And every single time you make a transaction, you can change that address, right? But there are people who will not change their addresses if Bitcoin is adopted as a payment system. Who won't change their address? Most likely your supermarket won't change their address because they want people to pay to that address because they know it's them. People will have to record that address and they'll have to pay. Imagine if you have 100 people walking through your supermarket. Every single time somebody walks into your supermarket to buy something, you need to generate a new address for them to make that payment. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, that's going to be a serious pain. And even if you do generate all that addresses, right? Because you have an alias and a public ledger timestamp, it means that that transaction is timestamped. And with the fact that you made that transaction is timestamped. That doesn't happen with cash, right? With cash, you are not typically timestamped. You give a person cash, they give you their goods. Maybe in their registry, they write on paper, I made this transaction, and later they'll give it off. Imagine this, on the public ledger, you go and you buy, I use this example a lot, you buy a sandwich at Walmart, right? You're going out, you buy at your local grocery store, you go and you buy a sandwich and use Bitcoin to pay for your sandwich. On the public ledger, to validate the transaction, it has to be written on the public ledger. So on the public ledger, it'll be written that one address transacted with another address at this time in the store. And then there's a video camera filming you making that payment, and that's what you bought, right? Are you traceable? Can people see and find out who you are and what you bought? Absolutely. If I have the timestamp of your transaction on the public ledger, and For example, let's say in the future, crypto is adopted by a lot of companies. Those companies will have to declare their public addresses whenever they declare their taxes. It's not going to happen that they will never have to declare the public addresses that they've used in the past. They will have to declare their public addresses in their taxes. Otherwise, there's no way to verify how much money they have, right? So they have to declare all the public addresses to verify their taxes and to verify their revenue. If they do that, then your transaction is timestamped with theirs, and we live in a world where there's cameras everywhere. If somebody goes look at that timestamp, they can see you made that transaction, and not just government entities can do it. Private individuals can see that timestamp, and if they decide to see who is buying what at that time, and they're able to access those cameras electronically or from a distance, which isn't very hard. I mean, most security cameras are not super secure, so it's not very hard to access a security camera. If you do that, you can see who is buying what, and you can have a bot do it because he can just scrape all the addresses, the known transacting addresses for that grocery store, and then look at who bought what, and then see like, oh, they went to the store. You know, maybe people with bad intentions can do it. People with good intentions could do it. People who want to market goods to you could do it. You have no privacy. Your privacy for spending privacy is completely gone at that point. What are some of the other risks? Well, I did go on quite a lot about the transaction risk, and I think people should be aware that this is the case. You know, people think they make a mistake. When they hear crypto, they think that, oh, it's encrypted. So it's, no, crypto refers back to the fact that the algorithm to verify if transactions are truthful or not is cryptographically done. Not that the coin is cryptographically secured. That has nothing to do with it. The mistake that people make when they think about crypto is not just that in the name, it's also in the fact that they think that when they buy BTC, they're buying the underlying asset of a cryptocurrency. That's not true. What is the underlying asset of cryptocurrencies, of all cryptocurrencies, is the idea that blockchain is a P2P system that can work as a monetary system, and this code is given out for free. This is the asset, the source code of all our cryptocurrencies that they work on is the underlying asset. Is there a price on this? Is there value on this underlying asset? Yes. But how, at what price is this underlying asset sold? It's free. It's an open source license. People don't understand that, like, of course, if you made the system and you started saying like, oh, the license costs a certain amount of money, then yeah, they will have a monetary price. But the license for this is free. Why did developers do it? Well, they believe that it will be for the good of humanity that they gave it out for free. They're like, yeah, it will make the world a better place. And it didn't cost us a lot to do it. So let's make it for free. And it might be a little bit difficult for people who are not programmers to understand, but within the programming, people who program, we have a mentality. If it's something that we can give out for free and it didn't cost us very much, we do it. Why do we do it? Is because we use ourselves a lot of free programs and open source software to do our daily jobs. You know, so it's a give-give relationship. We know that in the long term we'll benefit. We all benefit from it. So therefore, it's better that we give for free, and it advances technology at a pace that is unprecedented, without any licensing fees, without any barriers for entry. The second thing that people make a mistake of is that when they buy this, to become this first adopter of Bitcoin, they believe that governments will adopt an existing blockchain as the future of the monetary system, right? Governments could adopt blockchain, as it's possible. It's very possible that we will see sometime in the future governments adopting blockchain over the current sort of ledger system they have, which is called SWIFT. Will it be an existing blockchain? Will it be BTC specifically? Probably not. It probably will not be BTC. It will not be the standardized payment system. It will not be the standardized transaction ledger system between countries. Very unlikely. What most likely will be, it will be a new blockchain. They will fork off an existing blockchain that they think that will last for a long time, and it will be kind of like a Bretton Woods moment, or a where they're making a new sort of like currency. That's how they'll do it. They'll make a new blockchain, fork off maybe existing blockchain, taking different aspects of different blockchains, like, oh, we're going to do part of it's going to be proof of work, part of it going to be like proof of stake, and then we're going to add some features like lightning, faster transactions. Oh, we might have some privacy, but you have oversight access from specific governments who have a specific key that can allow them to audit fishy transactions that are obfuscated for privacy. This could happen. That could happen. They'll have different levels of user access, so on and so on. It will not be an existing blockchain. Most likely, it will not be Bitcoin. The other mistake people think is that if they're investing in Bitcoin, it cannot be government regulated or government distorted. They are wrong. Why are they wrong? Because governments can regulate cryptocurrency just like they've regulated gold and silver. It's harder to regulate gold and silver relative to cryptocurrencies. Why? Gold and silver is a physical asset. If they want to regulate gold and silver, and they have to make a law to make it illegal for you to hold gold and silver. They did this before, right? They made sure that they told people it was illegal. If we caught you having gold, we will like arrest you. So people own gold in the form of jewelry. They found ways to go around it. If you really want to take gold away from everybody, you would actually have to go to every house and then take it away. How would you regulate crypto? You don't want people in your country using a specific cryptocurrency. You make them pay taxes on a new cryptocurrency. That's how you do it. You're like, okay, we are off this fork. We're going to issue a new cryptocurrency and then depending on how much on the public ledger you had before, you would have a new X amount in your new cryptocurrency. They've just forked you off the old cryptocurrency and you have to pay taxes on the new one. And the old one, well, you can't transact maybe up to a certain date, right? You can transact with the old crypto fork, the old blockchain, and then you have to move on to the new blockchain because you have to pay your taxes with the new blockchain. People don't think that's possible. It's absolutely possible, and you're wondering maybe like how will they know that it's from the old blockchain? Well, you can't transfer ledgers. Like ledgers can't write onto other ledgers on other chains. Like, it's like they're isolated. It's very easy to force people to move off a chain if you make it illegal, and you can trace them because the ledger's public. You can trace that there's still transactions going on in the old ledger. And also, if you force people to pay their taxes and move off the old chain, all of a sudden, all the value related to the old ledger, it's going to pretty much go down to zero. So what is another problem that people mistakenly think about crypto when they're investing into crypto? Not just risk. This is really a misconception. People think that crypto is hard limited. Yeah, there is maybe a limit in a specific chain, but once you're on that chain and you decide the underlying asset is not limited, the code is not limited. There's no licensing cost with that code. People can infinitely fork Bitcoin. I mean, I'll put videos links in here. I'll show you how easy it is to fork Bitcoin. There's a video of somebody who just does it. He doesn't go into how you're going to set up the node, how you're going to set up the full system to make it run. But by the time he forks the coin off GitHub and he renames it, it is a separate coin. He hasn't set it up, he hasn't changed any parameters. It is a separate coin. I'm going to put a second video where the guy forks LiteCoin and he shows you how to set up and modify the code from A to Z and set up your first node for your new coin. If you don't have any programming experience, it might take you a week to do. If you have some programming experience, it'll take you half a day to do. It's not hard. It's not hard. For you to understand all the features of how that coin works and how to build upon it, yeah, it'll take more time. But you to create a new chain, a new fork, a new branch of a new block with coins in it, it's not hard. So how does it relate to silver? Well, there are properties that crypto cannot copy from silver, right? One silver atom is indistinguishable from the next silver atom. Silver is 100% fungible, which means that it has 100% spending privacy. People can, if there's a paper trail, they could kind of track you, But if there is no paper trail, there's no like registry, you're not on a camera and you're like in the middle of forest, you give somebody silver, and he gives you an apple, there's no timestamp. That transaction is private, right? Between you and the party transacting. That's not the case with Bitcoin. That's not the case with many cryptocurrencies, was actually all cryptocurrencies that have a public ledger. You can obfuscate some transactions, obviously, with some cryptocurrencies like Monero, but most likely in the future where we do adopt blockchain as the main way we're going to do transactions, governments won't let you do like obfuscated transactions, and they will be flagged once you do have obfuscated transactions. You know, your supermarket will flag that this transaction is obfuscated. You get arrested on the spot. I mean, maybe if your transaction was drug dealers, but then they can just pick a chain where there is no obfuscation. You know, that's what they can do. They can say you have to pay your taxes in the non-obfuscatable blockchain. People don't understand that. They think that it's because of the word crypto. It's all marketing. So we can establish that, at least with BTC specifically, it is not fungible relative to silver. One silver atom is equal to the next silver atom. Silver is also, I would say, when you pay with silver, you're actually giving a physical good to another person. And what it also means is that you can do something that blockchains cannot really do without the help of a third party, right? You can directly transact with this to another currency. And what do I mean by that? You can do a straight up exchange. You can't do a straight up exchange without an accepting third party, right? With this type of, like any type of money, gold or silver, you can do a straight up exchange into either another currency, another precious metal, or another good or services, because you are handing them the value in its form on the spot at the moment. If you're doing an exchange in cryptocurrency, let's say I want to exchange my LiteCoin to Ethereum, I have to find a willing party who has Ethereum and is willing to give me like Ethereum in exchange for Litecoin. Typically, exchanges have that. I need to go through a third party. Silver, it's pretty much widely accepted that silver has value and people will exchange directly for it. I made this video because I wanted things to be a bit clear. I see a lot of videos where people are spreading doom and gloom, and they're spreading crypto as sort of the savior. I've seen the first crypto rise. I bought before the first crypto rise. I've mined before the first crypto rise. I do regret not selling a lot of things during the highest point of the crypto rise. I still have my crypto holdings. I am aware of what they are. I'm not assuming that it is something that they are not. But I believe that there's a lot of misinformation and there's a lot of greed surrounding cryptocurrencies, and people are trying to reproduce and use fear and the fear of missing out that currently reigns due to the current health situation. People are scared, and people are using that to try and sort of get you to buy things that they are not. And just, I hope you don't get financially hurt during this period. I really hope, don't put all your life savings into crypto. I hope this video helped. You have to be aware that cryptocurrencies are an extremely risky asset, and that you're betting when you're buying cryptocurrencies that whatever cryptocurrency you're buying, that cryptocurrency will be the future monetary system adopted by all governments, right? You have to sit down and think, will this cryptocurrency be the one adopted? If you think yes, then you need to ask the next question. Why will it be adopted, and why won't it be adopted, right? Why will individuals use it, or why won't individuals use it? Why would everybody use Bitcoin if none of their transactions are private? That's the question you have to ask, right? The second you're going to use Bitcoin, yeah, it's like playing online with a video game and saying like, and you can talk, your chat. Sooner or later, they can trace you back to who you are. It's not anonymous. It provides a degree of, let's say, obfuscation, but it's not anonymous. You can be traced back to what you bought and what you didn't. You can be traced back to what you bought and where you bought it and at what time you bought it if you're on such a system. So you have to ask yourself, why would people use it? Why would governments decide to adopt it if they don't have control over it, right? You might say governments don't have a choice. Of course, government have a choice. They have control of the army. As long as they have control of weapons, they have a choice. I just laugh when people think that governments don't have a choice. Okay, sometimes governments don't have a choice. I'll tell you countries where governments don't have a choice. Libya, they have an uprising. Syria, they had civil war. When governments don't have a choice and people rise up and there's a civil war and there's a revolution, that's when governments don't have a choice. Is your country in a revolution? If you're not in a revolution, then your government has a choice and they have control. That's how it is. I honestly don't. There's people who believe that there's going to be a revolution in the United States. I don't think there's going to be a revolution in the United States. There might be civil unrest depending on the outcome of an election, depending on how Republicans and Democrats see each other. Do I think there's going to be actual fighting, people becoming armed and then driving around, shooting and forming new governments, seceding from the country? That's very unlikely. And in any case, if that happens, gold's going to gold, silver, anything not related to the dollar is a good investment. Not just crypto. You can buy other things. You can buy barrels of petrol that will also hold its value. In that case, because it's not associated to the dollar. Anything that's not the dollar at that point will be a good investment. Relative to the dollar. It's all relative. It's relative to each other. Do I think that cryptocurrencies will displace gold and silver? No, I do not think that it can. I don't think they fulfill the same role. I think once there is a widespread adoption of cryptocurrencies, people will come to see the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies more than the full-on hype advantages that you see all these crypto pumpers just pumping out, telling you like, yeah, it's going to be like so great, it's so secure, it's better than all the banks. They don't talk to you about the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies. You see very few people talk about disadvantages of cryptocurrency. I can tell you a lot of developers know about the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies. They don't condone people pumping it to the moon. They think that it's just so dumb. It's just so bad. It's horrible. I can almost understand why the creator of Bitcoin, we don't know who he is. Probably he doesn't want to be associated with all the greed that's going on with Bitcoin. I personally am of the opinion that Bitcoin is completely overvalued. It's no longer doing what it's supposed to be doing. It was a proof of concept to introduce the idea of a decentralized monetary system. But right now, people are just, I don't know, it's sort of like a time bomb. People are passing the coin, they're passing whatever amount they have on their ledgers to others in hopes that the next fool will buy into it before it all crashes. It's sad. I don't know what to say. I see how I've owned stocks, I've traded stocks before. I've made money trading stocks before. I've lost money also trading stock. I've made more than I lost trading stocks. I am positive in my stocks trading accounts. I've exited stocks. I haven't held any stock positions in the last 3 years because just if I look, the way I trade is I'm relatively risk adverse. And when I look at stocks, at least over the last 3 years, I keep on looking at what they're earning, the value they're generating, and it's completely dissociated from the economy. And I'm like, well, that's great. How long can they keep it up? Obviously, a long time. Insanity could go on for a long time. I think the tulip fever went on for 5 years during the 1700s. People were selling tulips for thousands of dollars, equivalent today, a tulip costing $1,000. You think it's insane, but at the time people were like, yeah, this is the new currency. It's going to be the hedge against probably the same arguments, It's decent. It's not associated with the Dutch government. They have no control over this. We, the people, have control over it. Tulips to the moon. That's what happened in the 1700s. I'm ranting on a bit. To conclude, I hope this video was helpful in making you understand a little bit of how cryptocurrencies work. I'll put the links to how you can fork cryptocurrencies. Those links, so if you watch the full video, you will understand more how cryptocurrencies work and what they are. That they are essentially a program that runs on many computers and that sort of have a system, a mathematical system of verifying that a public ledger is true or not. That's how it does it. That's what it is. And yeah, if you like the content, this one was suggested. This one was sort of, a lot of my subscribers have been talking a little bit about sort of investment and money and silver and possibly what they think they can happen to inflation. And I've noticed that a lot of them are also crypto fans, but at the same time, they're not too aware of what is cryptocurrencies. So I decided to make this video to help you guys be more aware of what it is and be careful, like of what you're investing in. If you like this video, click the subscribe button, tap the like button, push the bell icon. Feel free to comment. Feel free to add to what I've said. I like the fact that most of the people who are making comments in the comment section, they're doing meaningful contributions, right? And we have a dialogue going on, and that's the type of sort of community I want to foster. I want to foster people who are contributing and sharing ideas with each other so that we can all be better informed with the help of each other. We know that, like, you know, not everybody out there, especially a lot of the companies, have the best intentions towards you. And this is a platform, a space where like-minded stackers and also people, stackers are people. People gather and they share things. So feel free to comment, and thank you very much for watching. Silver Dave out.